All right, we got some people rolling in here. We'll get started in just one moment. Hope everybody's having an awesome day. It is Thursday. It's March 27th already. It's kind of hard to believe that we're almost done with one full quarter. Moving on to Q2. Um, Very excited for the March elevator pitch. For anybody that hasn't been part of our elevator pitches in the past, one of the great things about it is we have three awesome vendors that are here. We've got Max, Victor, and Brian, and each of them are going to give us 10 minutes each to tell about their organization, give us their elevator pitch. And which is awesome because we all, from a perspective of running an MSP, we do know that, anything that we have in place yesterday and today isn't necessarily what's going to work for us going forward. Sometimes we need to make changes to our stack, either adding something new or replacing something. And that's the beauty of what Elevator Pitch does. It gives you the opportunity to hear from these vendors. And we will open up demo rooms in a little bit after all three have completed their presentations, and you'll have an opportunity just to be able to ask them additional questions and so on. And one really important thing is we have $250 of cash. We just have piles of it here. We want to give away. And so one lucky winner, one lucky attendee at the end of this event will receive $250. So very important for you to stay on all the way to the end so that we can get you some money. Who's up for some money? Who
I'll
doesn't
take
want the
some.
money?
Can I have some?
You're handing it out.
Exactly. Miles said he's good.
I'm
He's good, Miles.
fine.
Exactly. And a couple things, just to mention while the each of our presenters are giving their elevator pitch, we won't have any Q&A during that time. That can all be saved till the breakout rooms, those demo rooms, and you'll be able to go from there. But without further ado, let's go ahead and spotlight Mr. Max Pruger. Am I saying that right?
Close enough. Actually, that's
Close
100% accurate. It's good.
Awesome. And let's add a spotlight for you there. And we got you there. And how are you doing today? Doing good?
I'm doing fantastic, Dan. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome. And we're going to talk about some critical stuff, with Compliance Manager GRC, which I think you'll get into detail, but that all kind of is encompasses audit, network detective, vol scan, in addition to Compliance Manager. So, through the acquisitions you guys have pulled together, a plethora of products and brought them into this important category. So what I want to do is before we start the 10-minute countdown for you is tell us something unique about you that we might not know.
So if you don't mind, actually, a point of clarification. So Network Detective, VoltScan, Compliance Manager, they were all actually part of the Rapid Fire Tools acquisition. So those products were already part of a single, let's just say, suite. They were not through other acquisitions.
Gotcha.
But good question. So what's unique? I would say in this particular space, I started my first MSP back in 1999. So go back a while. Microsoft actually gave me and four other guys $90 million to start an MSP. And we didn't know what an MSP was. We called ourselves an ASP, an application service provider.
Yeah.
But, exactly the same concept, pay us a monthly fee. It works like electricity. We just manage your environment and it works. And by the way, Dan, you seem like a super wonderful guy. But to be clear, they did not give the money directly to me. They gave it to the organization. So I'm sure Max and everybody else here is wonderful. But
Yeah.
if I got $90 million in 1999, I'd probably be somewhere else today. Not that I don't love this, but
Right. Yeah, so I'm gonna retract that email I just sent you asking, for, a little bit of that $90 million. So
yeah, no, it's in the bank. That's why I need $250 now.
yeah, exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start your timer now, and you've got 10 minutes. And if you have anything to share, you can go ahead and do that now as well.
Absolutely. And while I am sharing, this is unique for me. Usually I do 3 slides for 10 minutes. I got 20 slides here, so we'll see how this goes. But if you can do me a favor and let me know if you can see my deck, I will get started here.
Perfect. We do see it now. Yep.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining. The elevator pitch today is going to focus specifically around compliance. So I'm Max Kruger. I'm the general manager of the audit and compliance suite for all of Kaseya. And like I mentioned at the beginning, this really came out of the Rapid Fire Tools acquisition. So we've got a couple other products in there. So to kick this off, compliance is not going away. Hopefully everybody on this call believes that. I don't really have to convince anybody out there. There's tons of compliance frameworks and standards, and every single company pretty much in the world is subject to some sort of compliance regulation. So if they're in a regulated industry like HIPAA, or they take credit cards or DOD or CMMC, that's easy. If not, every single company out there has compliance requirements based off of their cyber insurance policies. That's just terms and conditions. Every state in the United States has breach notification logs on the book. So again, compliance is not going away. Here's the problem. Compliance is hard. It is difficult to do, it is time consuming, and it does require a certain level of knowledge and effort in order to deliver compliance services. So what we're doing is we're making compliance easy, or at least simplifying compliance. I don't like saying compliance made easy. There's a negative connotation to that, but what we're really trying to do is simplify compliance. And the way we're doing that is we launched a brand new feature inside of Compliance Manager GRC called Compliance Monitor. And what Compliance Monitor is that it's the ability to scan devices using a basic agent. We all know how to install agents. That's one thing MSPs are all really good at. It looks for over 1,500 device security configurations across 24+ standards. And you can literally deploy this to every single one of your customers in about 10 minutes or less per customer for as low as about $50 a month per client. So what I was going to do here is I'm going to just take you a day in the life of how you can start offering valuable compliance services to your clients in 10 minutes or less. So the first thing you do is you log into our portal, SaaS-based portal, super easy, user ID, password, two-factor authentication. From there, you set up your customer. So you create an org, and then you create a site underneath that, and it'll be a Compliance Manager GRC site. Once you're there, you will go download the agent installer, and then you download agents. And if you're using one of the Kaseya's RMM tools like Datto RMM or VSA 9 or 10, there's mass deployment already there. Otherwise, it's just an executable. It's got some switches. You can use whatever RMM tool you want to mass deploy that agent to your customers. Once the agent checks in, which takes a couple seconds, you just enable compliance monitoring. That tells that agent that you want to do benchmark configuration monitoring effectively in real time. It checks in about once an hour, which is CONMON, continuous monitoring. So you enable the monitoring, and then you select the standards and frameworks that you want to crosswalk. So we support over 24 of those. Within about 5 minutes for your first scan, the agents are going to report back. And in this particular example, this particular benchmark has 213 security configurations for this operating system. And this particular, again, client, there's 162 that are not aligned. There are 51 that are aligned. And you can see that they're all identified here on a per device basis. From there, you can click on any single one of the benchmarks, or I should say the configurations, and we give you guidance and rationale and impact. And we even give you the remediation steps that you need in order to resolve this particular security issue. Be aware, about 85% of these things are all just registry settings. So we give you the group policy. You can put that in your RMM tool and then deploy it and remediate it. So congratulations. That's it. You're done. You can now offer a continuous compliance monitoring service that is extremely valuable to your clients, and you've spent maybe about 10 minutes per client to do that. Now, to be clear, I am the GM of compliance. This is not a true compliance offering. If you're going to offer things like HIPAA and CMMC and so on, this is a way to really easily get started. From there, once you're comfortable, once you have the knowledge and the expertise, then you can extend your compliance offering to a full compliance suite. So you would perform an assessment. So from there, again, now you're answering your controls, you're answering your requirements. I got CMMC level 2 here. There's 110 controls. There's 320 sub-objectives. You can go through all that, and we walk you through the process. Once you've answered your controls and requirement questions, we automatically generate a POAM. So that's a plan of action and milestones that lists every single issue that was identified through your assessment. And then from your POAM, we automatically generate what we call a risk manager. This is extremely powerful. We use the NIST the NIST risk management framework for this heat map. And while there are other products that have risk registers, and those are great, that's a manual process. You enter in all your risks. You don't have to do any of that with Compliance Manager GRC. We build this directly off of your POAM, and it links directly to your POAM. So as you remediate issues in your POAM, then the risk manager automatically gets remediated. And the whole point of this is that it allows you and your customers to make intelligent, risk-based decisions, and it's really easy to visualize and prioritize them. As you see, you can click on any of the risks that are in your risk manager. And once again, like I said, it maps directly to your POAM. So as you remediate issues, both the POAM as well as the risk manager are updated automatically. From there, compliance is all about documentation. If you didn't document it, it did not happen. So document, 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 and we literally generate thousands of pages of documentation. So in the event of an incident or a breach or something else, you have the documentation necessary so you can prove that you were doing what it is that you said that you were supposedly doing. True compliance assessments are point in time. So once you are done with an assessment, you then archive it. It's saved in Compliance Manager GRC. So if you do have a incident or a breach and it happened 6 months ago and your cyber insurance company says, okay, well, show me where you were 6 months ago or a year ago, or you got to save your HIPAA data for 3 years or whatever the case may be, you can go back in time at any point in time, recover that archive, and then you can compare where you were to where you are today, or provide evidence that you were following the terms and conditions based off of whenever you signed your cyber insurance policy. And finally, you just maintain your compliance over time. So, compliance is not one and done. It is a journey. It is not a destination. You're never done. So as you continue remediating issues, as new benchmarks or security configurations come out, you just maintain that over time. So there you go. There's a compliance offering for you. What's in it for you? This allows you to keep your customers. The last thing you want to do is allow another MSP to come in and offer a compliance service to your end clients, because from what I've seen, the moment that happens, 6 to 12 months later, that other MSP is now taking your customer and offering them standard managed services. Increase your revenue. So for those that do not have a VCIO offering, this is how you start your VCIO offering. VCIO services are extremely high margin services. And for all those clients that refuse to buy two-factor authentication or implement some sort of file backup, you're no longer going to them and saying, hey, this is my recommendation. You're going back to them and saying, if you want to comply with HIPAA or CMMC or your credit card processor or your cyber insurance policy, I'm not telling you you have to do this. They're telling you you have to do this. I can help implement that for you. And then finally, reducing risk. So, as far as end customers go, a business only buys for one of 3 reasons: increase revenue, decrease costs, or mitigate risk. So by actually remediating all of those configuration issues on a particular device, then you're obviously reducing the risk for your customers and for yourself. So with that, thank you so much. Please feel free to join me in the breakout room. If you want to request a demo of the Compliance Manager GRC product with Compliance Monitor and Risk Manager and everything else automatically built into it, I got my little dinosaur QR code here, so feel free to take a picture of that. Otherwise, you can just visit compliancemanagergrc.com/demo, and I look forward to answering any other questions that you guys might have during the breakout session. So there you go. That's my time. Exactly 9 minutes. I put it right there. Oh my,
Yes.
look at that. It's just beeping at me.
Awesome. Great job, Max. And, one thing that you brought up that so critical is, the last thing we want to do is have, one of our clients getting a phone call, or another way is, they're at an industry event, maybe they're a CPA firm and, they're out at an accounting association event, and, and there's a booth there, and they're talking about compliance, and it's a conversation that they don't recall you ever having. Certainly going to, potentially put the relationship at jeopardy, and they're going to be scratching their heads and asking, why have you not done this for us? So certainly something that we cannot overlook. And so we're going to move on to our next one. So thank you, Max. And we have, let me just pull up here. We got Victor right there. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring Victor in. We will spotlight Victor. How are you doing today,
Hello.
Victor? There you are.
Well, doing well, Dan. So having
Yeah, you're on the big screen now, not
yeah,
just the
I
Victor.
feel it.
Victor.
I feel the spotlight. I feel the lights on me. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So, again, just like we did with Max, we gotta learn something about Victor that most people don't know. What's something unique about you, Victor?
Yeah, I luckily I had some time there to think about it. So, it's interesting, having started a software company, a payment software company, most people don't know, or fun fact about me is I actually started my professional career as an attorney. So, yeah, I have
Oh, wow.
a full working law degree. I can't really help you if you have legal problems, but I do have one of
Yeah. Well,
them.
I mean, think about it. I mean, you got tax laws or finance, procedures. Then you got, all the legal stuff. I mean, I gotta say,
There's a
I'm
method to the
impressed.
madness. It's we don't have enough time on this one, but one day,
Yeah.
we'll sit down, and there is a method to the madness. The journey started somewhere, and it ended up here today. So
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna kick things off with Victor with FlexPoint, and we're gonna start your timer right now. And 10 minutes starts right this second.
all right, let me get my screen sharing. I want to make sure everyone sees my screen.
Yep.
All right. Great. So thank you. Thanks for having me here today. So yeah, Victor Lopez, co-founder and CEO here at FlexPoint. So I want to talk about a favorite topic of a lot of people today. So I want to talk about how getting paid is a waste of time and money for many of you on this call today. So just quick overview of the presentation, things I want to cover. First thing I want to talk about is, why do your clients pay you late? And why do those clients pay you late more often than you would like? From there, we'll talk a little bit about strategies to actually speed up those payments, right? Everyone wants faster payments. Everyone wants to get paid faster. So we'll talk a little bit about how to do that. And then at the end, we'll talk a little bit about how FlexPoint, we are a accounts receivable payments automation platform. So we'll talk a little bit about how we can help transform your cash flow. But I want to start with, we have, at this point, we have hundreds and hundreds of MSPs on our platform, thousands and thousands of their customers, and millions of transactions. And so with all this data, we put together the top 5 reasons why your clients are not paying you on time. So I want to go through those real quick here. But number one, not surprising, right? And so number one and number two are going to be in the category of self-inflicted wounds. So confusing invoices. So this is all of those situations where your clients don't understand the invoice, or it's unclear in terms of the payment terms. It's unclear when it's due. So that's one of the top 5 reasons we see why clients are not paying on time. Second one is administrative delays. So here we're talking about situations where you don't have a process in place, an efficient process in place to actually get the billable time, get the contracts from, wherever they may be in a PSA over to your clients to accurately and timely invoice them. So another one of these self-inflicted issues that come up very, very often. Next one is one that's kind of out of your control, right? It's not something that you could really optimize for, although at FlexPoint we can help you out here. And so this is typically when a client has cash flow issues, right? They're having trouble, either temporary trouble or a longer term issue around cash flow. And the next one, again, forgetfulness, right? This is probably the one that most clients use. Oh, forgot about it. Didn't even realize you sent it to me. Pretty self-explanatory there. And then the last one, which is kind of tricky, right, is disputes and questions, right? Whether it's questions about what you're billing them for, or they might not agree that they should be billed for that. And so these are generally the top 5 reasons why we see, at least based on the data that we have, why clients are not paid on time. So let's drill into this a little bit more and talk a little bit about the sample process of actually getting paid, right? So this might sound familiar to most of you. So it all starts with you sending some invoices, syncing them over to QuickBooks, A week later, hopefully you start getting paid, get some payments coming in, checks, maybe some credit card payments, start reconciling. At this point, you might start following up with some customers. 2 weeks in, you're getting more payments, hopefully. At this point, you start to email those customers a little bit more forcefully, right? You start talking a little bit more about, hey, you haven't paid me, what's going on? A month in, right? Now it's starting to get a little awkward. You got to pick up the phone. Not your favorite thing to do, especially not picking up the phone to call your client and say, hey, why haven't you paid me? Now, at this point, we're talking about a month and a half in. At this point, it's getting really awkward. You're calling your clients, you're saying, hey man, you haven't paid me. What's going on? 2 months in, this is where it starts to get tricky. I like to ask this question. Anytime I present something like this, I like to ask this question to MSPs out there, but how many of you are actually willing to shut off service after 2 months? Usually not a lot of hands go up there. And at day 75, right now we're talking 2.5 months in. You're not getting paid, it's a loss. So all of this is a giant waste of time, waste of money, full of manual processes, and worst of all, creates a ton of friction between yourself and your clients, right? So anytime there's friction in getting paid, all that's going to mean is you're not going to get paid on time. And so the other big problem that we see MSPs facing in terms of getting paid is not just when it comes to the process to get paid, it's what they're actually paying when it comes to processing these payments, right? So let's take, for example, a $500,000 MSP. In a given year, they're going to spend close to $10,000 in processing fees. So this is traditional processing fees where they're using like a QuickBooks payments or something similar, right? $1 billion MSP, which is double the size, they're going to be paying double the fees, right? Close to $20,000 in payment processing fees, not to mention all the time spent and wasted. Now let's take a $3 million MSP. At this point, a $3 million MSP is spending close to $60,000 in payment processing fees, plus a bunch of time wasted in actually collecting those payments. So, what could you do with all this money, right? Instead of paying $10,000 processing fees, you could have a CDO, right? That's something that might be fun. Or if you're $1 million MSP, you might be buying a 2023 Kia Forte. And if you're a $3 million MSP, well, you can take all those payment processing fees, all the savings there, and go buy a Dodge Challenger, or maybe hire an entry-level employee. So let's talk about how FlexPoint changes this for you. So with FlexPoint, typical $500,000 MSP that's traditionally paying close to $10,000 in credit card fees can eliminate most of that and pay $25 in ACH fees. $1 million MSP can take those $20,000 in credit card fees and turn them into $50 in ACH fees. And now that $3 million MSP, those $60,000 in processing fees turn into $150 in ACH fees. So it sounds pretty good, right? So let's talk now about what you can actually do to speed things up, to make your payments make sure your payments are received faster, make sure you have a process in place that isn't creating friction or slowing down getting paid. So number one, clear invoicing, right? Just make sure you have standardized templates, whether that's in your PSA or in your accounting software, that make it very clear to customers, especially clients that are on managed service plans, so they know exactly what they're being billed for. Next one is have a process to automate reminders, right? Those forgetful clients, you don't have to go out and call them, send them an email manually. Set up an automation that allows that to automatically happen so you don't have to worry about it. Next one is give your clients a lot of ways to pay, right? Whether it's credit cards, ACH, give them online payments, give them, even access to working capital, all in one place. That's going to make it easier for your clients to pay on time. And lastly, make it easy, right? Make it simple for clients to pay. Remove the friction, whether that's using software that's modern, easy to use, or having a clear process in place. So let's talk about how FlexPoint can help you with all of these things, right? So number one, we integrate into your PSA or accounting software. At this point, we support all the major PSAs. and a lot of the accounting software that most MSPs are using. So this allows you to eliminate duplicate entry, automate that whole process. And through FlexPoint, you could also automate the process of getting those invoices to your clients, reminding them of past due invoices. And then we also give your clients the option to pay via credit cards, same day ACH, or even short-term financing. And so we do all this by providing a modern, easy to use client portal. So your clients can self-service, eliminate a lot of those tickets that you see from clients asking a bunch of questions. And really represents the brand that you're trying to have, right? Something that's very modern. And so some quick examples in terms of the transformation that a lot of our customers have seen, right? 80% faster payments, up to $10,000 saved annually in credit card fees, faster processing, a ton of savings when it comes to time and effort. So if you want to learn more, please stop by the breakout room. Otherwise, feel free to follow this link to schedule a demo with the FlexPoint team and learn more how we can make your payments simple. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Oh, I should be here. Where am I?
You've
There I am.
disappeared.
There we go. I'm back. So we have I think a couple things that jumped out at me is, of course, Sea-Doo, Kia Forte, Dodge Challenger. But the thing that really jumped out at to me is we all know that every MSP said, if I had one more person in my organization,
Mhm.
whether it be a technician, whether it be it's an operations manager that you don't have, or maybe somebody in sales. If you can
Mhm.
repurpose those dollars to help drive even more revenue, that's huge. So,
Absolutely.
Victor, thank you so much for that. And we're going to go ahead and bring in our next presenter. And there he is right there. We've got Mr. Brian Doyle with VCIO Toolbox. And we're going to, got to throw you in the hot seat as well, learning something about Brian that, we might not be aware of.
So I was trying to think of something interesting that I could share, and the only thing I could come up with is I'm a medical marvel. I am the 31st known case of double ruptured patella tendons, and am the first one that ever did it athletically, not getting in a car accident to do
Wow.
that. So that's my big claim to fame. It's not that exciting, but that's what I got.
But who else can say that that's number 31, right? That's pretty
That's it.
sweet. Do you get it? Do you have like certificate, that you have on
I don't
your
have a certificate,
wall?
but if you look online, there is a medical journal article by Dr. Rich Diana that talks about it. They don't name me specifically. I'm patient whatever X, I guess.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, exactly. Well, we're gonna turn things over to you. Gonna go ahead and start your 10-minute timer right now, and it is all yours, my friend.
All right. Well, I'm excited to join everybody today. And sorry, let me get this slide up here for you. But for those that don't know me, I'm Brian Doyle. I'm one of the co-founders here at VCIO Toolbox. And really, when we talk a little bit about how VCIO Toolbox came to be, it was really based on a problem that we had to fix for ourselves when we were an MSP. We got to about our second or third year, and we started losing some customers. And on surface value, we really thought it was based on cost. They were going to lower cost practitioners. But when we investigated and talked to our best customers, we really found that we weren't connected well within the organization. We hadn't driven any value. And as a result, yes, those customers turned to lower cost vendors, but it was really because we didn't stay engaged with them post sale in a way that brought them any value. And we were just looked at as a commodity. And that's really what came out of this. Our customer losses were not due to price, but because of value perception. So we set out on a journey to really fix this. And that's really where we started doing TBRs. This goes back to almost 2008. We just didn't call them TBRs back then. Now, one of our main focuses is really building a bond with the customer, and we do that through building a joint strategic plan. The real reason that you want to build this joint strategic plan with the customer is to be a better partner to them. You want to understand not just what they're trying to do from an IT perspective, but what are they trying to do overall in their business? How do you up-level your perception with that MSP so you don't get caught in the commodity trap? And when you do this, you're going to create a check and balance system that as you place items into your technology roadmap that you're going to share with them, they tie back to business outcomes that they really want to understand. So it's really doing, as it says here, connecting the dots between technology and business. And most importantly, it really becomes a consultative process versus a sales process. Many of us know that those QBRs and the reason our customers are not joining us on them anymore is because they've become thinly veiled sales calls. So what we've developed is the VCIO Toolbox platform. And as we've continued to advance our services, we've really become what we now term as a unified account management and advisory platform. You'll see that we have two sides to the coin. Our VCIO Toolbox VCIO stack, which includes our core business review tools, our key account management suite of tools, and our customer feedback module as well. Over on the right-hand side, you'll see our Cybrance vCISO tools, and we're seeing more and more of our customers building those emerging CISO as a service businesses, governance as a service businesses, and generating that new revenue through those processes. So over here, we've got our standard GRC module where you can do framework assessments, build out your risk register, and of course, generate your POAM. But we have advanced modules, including our policy module, where we have a series of policy templates you can leverage, customize with your customer, and send out for workflow and signature. And then TPRM stands for third-party risk management. I'm sure all of you guys have received those vendor risk assessments that are sent to you, and they're so much fun to fill out. Well, now you can pay back those folks. You can take over that vendor risk responsibility for your customer, get those assessments in the hand of their vendors, and build out risk scores and certainly remediation plans for those vendors that are falling short for your clients. All of this gets centralized with a unique strategic plan, or everything contributes to that unique strategic plan. All the projects come to a centralized roadmap. So if this is two different teams doing the work, everything stays in sync and the customer seeing the same story. And then everything lives within that risk register module. So really what we're trying to do as an organization is fix the broken TBR process. Get those C-suite leaders back in the room because they're feeling things that are going to bring value to them. We want to make sure that we're shortening your sales cycle by building that joint strategic plan. We're seeing 30 to 60 days on average in increased sales velocity. And we want to create a repeatable process that is easy for your engineers to digest. And we do that also by leveraging some AI enhancements we've brought into the system, which includes our AI assistant. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, we're seeing our MSP partners really building out vCISO services and increasing MRR by as much as $3,000 to $5,000 monthly with each one of their clients. But what you got to think about at all times when you go into these meetings, and one of the things that gets lost a lot of times when we're sitting down with our customers and being that trusted advisor, is my favorite Clint Eastwood saying here, it's not about you, it's about them. We have to make sure that the messaging that we're doing is about what they need, better outcomes. We want to make sure that we're talking in a language they understand and we're not going too deep into speeds and feeds. And we certainly want to be able to, and what we're doing for you is delivering a process versus a tool. So this is how we can help in the equation. Now, you may ask, why do we want to get closer to our customers? Well, Canalys has done some research that really says why you need to get into that advisory role. In 2021, the market share for global services was $3.5 billion, and almost $2.1 billion of that was going to the partner channel community. When you fast forward to 2031, you see now that that market is going to double to $7 billion, but yet the channel's share of it's only going up by a couple $100 million. And why is that? Because the marketplace is changing. There's the introductions of those places like Pax8 and other marketplaces taking some of that share of wallet from the channel. But the good news behind all this is channel partners are expected to facilitate 90% of those deals. And those deals translate into high margin, high return consulting services or chief governance as a service services as an example. And what we're trying to do is bring you that unified tool for all your client management needs. You can reduce your support stack, save some dollars back to you as the MSP, and get rid of 3 different tools, your QBR, your CSAT, and your GRC tools, all in one unified platform. And that's what we're really looking to share with you today. So again, we are trying to build that consultative approach to sales acceleration. We want to improve your sales close times. We want to help you see ROI through the first month, and we do that with a white space analysis. And we want to make sure that your customers are making more confident, more informed decisions, and not just relying on blind faith from you. Now, what's inside the box? No pun intended. We've got our business review module first, and it really gives you a view into day-to-day operations and security. 3 primary components we have here are our joint strategic plan that I mentioned is the North Star we build out with our customer and really helps them see progress throughout their lifespan with you. We have key performance indicators that come from a variety of different integrations you can bring into VCIO Toolbox and really help share the metrics out during those sessions. And then ultimately, we're driving a very detailed budget plan for you and your client. Our key account management module, on the other hand, is really there to help you make steps inside your business and take action where appropriate. You'll see that we have a white space analysis that allows you to do cross-sell, upsell activities and see where people stand against your unique tech stack. We're building a global forecast across your whole portfolio so your business owners can now see how the revenue is projected to come back to your company month by month and year by year on a long-term plan. And then those that are doing real customer success, you can see your feedback loop, get your net promoter scores and customer satisfaction scores as well. So really everything your account management team needs to stay engaged with your customer and then report back to management. Now, as Max talked about during his presentation, compliance is a very hot topic as well. And when we set out to build our system, we always had compliance in mind when we launched our QBR side. And we're seeing now that VCIO programs are definitely something that our customers are stepping to. So we provide you over 30 different compliance frameworks, over 40 different policy templates that you can leverage to assess client environments and certainly customize those policies to share out with your customers as a core component of a governance as a service program. Inside that section, we have the ability to showcase those framework assessments, do those board level meetings, and help customers understand where they're missing the mark and where they need to improve. We capture risk management in our risk profile and risk dashboard here. And you can see that heat map and customers understand that concept of getting to green. And now you can really give them some prioritization to what steps they need to take. And that all translates into your plan of action, where in the case of VCIO Toolbox, we're tying it back to those strategic initiatives, both showing what corrective actions are going to occur, but also what goals can be satisfied in the process and how it's going to drive the business forward. Our policy manager, which is new to our system here in 2025, really allows you to manage policy compliance with your customer, introduce those policies that they may be missing, and then track those policies not only for signature, but annual review cycles as well. From a vendor risk perspective, we have the ability to track all the vendor risk metrics in one spot and really share with your customer which vendors are doing well, which vendors are underperforming, and certainly where they are in the progress of returning those vendor assessments as well. And all of this can be shared out with your customer and collaborated with them via the customer portal. This is a totally white labeled portal where you can have customers come to your domain. They can contribute to their assessments, upload evidence and other things that are required for audit, and go and take a snapshot and look at where they stand from both a business review and compliance perspective throughout their journey. We also believe very much in being part of the community. So we're out there trying to engage and share our knowledge with our end users. Every month, VCIO Toolbox does a learning series event. Every week, we do coaching sessions where we do deep dives within the system and then open the floor for Ask Me Anything. And I've been hosting the MSP Business School podcast. In 2 weeks, it'll be 5 years. So we've been out there really trying to share what we're learning. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Hope to see you in our breakout room. And certainly if you want to schedule a demo or reach out to me, my details can be found right there. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. And You know, I can attest to your podcast. I didn't realize it's 5 years.
Yeah, time
That's
flies.
awesome.
We launched it right after COVID started. Both back when Rob and Tim joined me on that as well, just as a way to stay in touch when we didn't know what the world was going to bring. And 5 years later, here we are.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's quite a milestone. And so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to just go ahead and mention a couple things for everybody before we move on to our breakout sessions. One thing I want to mention, and let me just change one quick view here, if I can. There we go. There's me. Right. So, one thing I wanted to mention is we are going to throw a poll up right now. You can go ahead and complete this poll. Taylor will throw that out there. It just popped up. Let us know who you would like to hear from, and we'll share this information over with the vendors. So go ahead and complete that poll. So, while you're doing that, I'm going to mention that we have our demo rooms. They're actually called breakout rooms in Zoom. You'll see at the lower part of your screen with the menu bar in Zoom, it will say breakout rooms. And in just a moment, Talon will open up those breakout rooms. And you can pick and choose which of the vendors that you want to jump into their breakout room. And you can bounce around. So if you jump over and see Victor and you learned a little bit about FlexPoint, then you want to jump over to see Max or Brian, you can just bounce back and forth. And in what's going to happen is about 120 seconds before we close the breakout rooms, we'll go ahead and set a timer. You will let everybody know that that countdown is happening, and we'll bring everybody back into the main stage. And at that point, we'll give away that $250 cash. So be sure to stay with us all the way to the end. And Taylor, if you want to go ahead and open up the breakout rooms, that would be great. There we go. And go ahead and jump in there, and we'll see you guys in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes.